They disrupt transport routes using tractors to block traffic. It comes as the industry feels it's being unfairly blamed for climate change while having to bend to Berlin's push towards carbon neutral. Evangelist Sipsas has more.
German farmers are furious. But this is not a united front. Two camps are taking aim to the government over its environmental rules for very different reasons. On the one corner, thousands of farmers causing gridlock in several major cities over environmental measures which they say are crippling their livelihood. The biggest one in Bonn, home to the German Agricultural Ministry, where a 10-kilometer convoy brought the city to a halt. A looming ban on the controversial weed killer glyphosate and tighter controls on slurry and fertilizer are just some of the measures that farmers say will force them out of business. Germany's lost 16% of its farms between the years of 2007 and 2017, a trend that the German Farmers Association says is reflected across Western Europe. Farmers say they had enough of being labeled as the bad guys in the growing climate change movement.
We are not satisfied with the agricultural policy which is being shaped. It's a policy that's not based on facts. New requirements are being issued all the time, at a rate we simply cannot keep up with. We have no chance to adjust our farms in time. The wish list from different NGOs is getting longer, and we are getting fed up with the fact that we're being made responsible for every dead insect and so on. We are fed up with this farmer-bashing campaign.
We simply want to show that we're fed up with being the scapegoat for everything that's negative. We are to blame for climate change, for air and water pollution. It can't go on like this.
But on the other corner are the German farmers accusing the government of failing the environment and putting them out of business.
We want the federal government to rethink its climate goals, or rather take further action to reduce CO2 emissions.
Instead of roadblocks, they tried taking the legal route. The first time, the government had been taken to court for failing to protect the environment.
It has become clear that climate protection is prosecutable. We can end up in court. That is how I see it. I believe that we should move forward with a positive attitude, and I think more action must be taken now.
Germany's plan was to cut 40% of greenhouse gas emissions by 2020 and compared with those in 1990, but it has fallen short. It only reduced 31%. But a court in Berlin found that the targets were not legally binding. Undeterred, the farmers are digging in on both sides.
We want to be perceived as people who produce healthy products in harmony with nature, and not as the biggest destroyer of nature in Germany.
More needs to be done, so the government recognizes that it must act now.
They may be opposites over the impact and solutions of climate change, but there's one thing that they do agree on, that Berlin is failing them both. Evangelos Sipsas for RT.
Despite a history of animosity between North and South Korea, people in the South would side with North Korea in the event of a conflict with Japan.